Do you remember watching those scary movies? I do. Tonight we're going to dive into the top 25 scary TV movie monsters, according to me. What's going on, everybody? I'm Josh Morris. Welcome to the Everything Paranormal Show Halloween edition. So, tonight, as the title says, we're going to be discussing sort of a live discussion. I'm not going to have a bunch of photos, so I know you're probably just going to click off right now. But I just thought it'd be fun, Halloween fun, to talk about the 25 top scary monsters that I feel are the top 25 scary to me. So let me just explain what this list is. So this top 25, I almost just bumped my computer, like completely turn off. That would suck. Anyways, um, but first, actually, although real quick, I just want to say, um, my wife Terry Lynn, she's not feeling too good, like with her. It's more like a stomach bug. It's not like you know it's not the beer bug. But no, this is more of a stomach bug. So she's not feeling too well. So hopefully you guys understand. She may or may not be able to participate a whole lot. She's kind of taking her medicine and everything right now. So, but in any case, let's move forward. So this top 25 of scary TV movie monsters is my list of just a collection of scary creatures that always scared me. Now, this is not a list of the top 25 best scary creatures or all time and things like that. These are just sort of my personal ones that kind of scared me. So it's going to be more of a top 25 ones that affected me in one way or another. Now, I was kind of reviewing this list and I'm like, some of them I wish I maybe have moved up a little bit. Some I might have rearranged, but I think overall it's a pretty good list. It doesn't necessarily have to be exactly in this order. But guys, as always, you're welcome to join me in the chat if you want to add anything to these creatures that we talk about. We will be getting to a variety of creatures, so who knows? A scary monster. So, number 25. Let's start at the bottom of the list, right? So number 25, this creature, it affected me, man. And I'm gonna say this is Audrey 2 from the Little Shop of Horrors. So I hope some of you have seen that movie. But the Little Shop of Horrors, if you have not seen it, it's a great movie. Again, if you haven't seen any of these movies, you need to probably go check them out. I mean, it's Halloween. I'm sure you're having a movie marathon at some point, anyways. But in any case, Audrey 2 from the Little Shop of Horrors was this alien plant, kind of a Pac-Man shape, and it it just turns into this crazy. And I don't want to spoil it if you haven't seen it, but for me, um, it was a little scary. Again, sometimes it could be the age I was at, or just things that the idea of something. So don't judge me, even though this whole list you're going to judge me, right? So Rachel Electro, hey Rachel. So she says, love that one. Rick Moranis, Steve Martin. That's true. Absolutely great. There's a great talented cast. I believe it was like even based off of an actual like a play. Um, hey, Ignaz family. The I hey, I was a little when I saw that one. Yeah, I mean, again, depending on the age that you are, some of these monsters can just hit you at the right time. Like I said, I may pick a monster on here and it might be even more scary. You might be like, what? That should be like number three, or that should be like top five. Hey, like I said, I'm just letting you know what affected me the most as a kid. So whether it hit me at the right moment. Okay, number 24. Uh, I'm gonna go old school on this. Okay, I'm going all the way back to 1933. No, I was not alive, but hey, Rich. Rich says, "Hey, bud, driving home." So I'm sorry, I was shouting out to the chat. But anyways, number 23 or 24, 1933, folks. And now obviously I was not around, but King Kong, the original black and white 1933 King Kong. Um, Again, I used to see the reruns of the movie as a kid, and back when I was a kid, it was terrifying in a way because, of course, the effects. When you're a kid, like in the 70s or 80s, in that time frame, the effects. I mean, obviously, we had Star Wars and things like that that had come out, but I'm just talking about in general. Still, a lot of movies at the time, the effects, you just believed it, and I'm not saying it was believable, but it was the idea of this huge giant, creature, this huge giant ape that could do this, and it was scary in that sense. So I'm going with King Kong 1933 edition for number 24. Any guess? The Enigas family. Enigas family. I know. I see it, and then my mouth says it, but then yes, Enigas family. I got it. But I hope you guys like that pick. All right. So for those of you that may not be, moving on past 24, King Kong, number 23. This movie was a little creepy to me. But the movie is called Tremors. The creature they were graboids. Okay, the sandworms. Those things terrified me as a kid, or not as a kid. I can't even say as a kid. This movie came out in 1990, um, so I wasn't a kid, but necessarily. But the idea of these sandworms, it was terrifying. The effects again were really good at that time. Remember, we're not holding them to today's standards, okay, folks. So perfect. Thank you. So you guys remember Tremors, Kevin Bacon, right? Those and the sandworms on Beetlejuice. That's a bonus, right? Yeah, we'll throw that in there too. The idea of the sandworms, I think when Beetlejuice is riding the sandworm and it comes down, right? That was pretty cool. Tremors, the new one was released 2 days ago. Yeah, I didn't even really get a chance to check that, but I gotta say they keep remaking these and redoing these old movies, and I'm not sure if I really like that. I'm not sure. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. More often than not, a lot of these remakes are bad because they say, "Oh, let's redo it with modern graphics," and then somehow they still miss the original point. Does that make sense? Um, we may even talk more about that later. So moving on to number 22. So hopefully you guys can also relate to some of these. Number 22, it depends. Some of you may or may not get this movie, um, but it's one of those that I saw when I was young, and for some reason, the graphics at the time, I think they probably were groundbreaking back then. But this movie's from 1963, and the name of the movie is Jason and the Argonauts. But the skeletons that were in there really irked me as a kid. I was like, "Oh my god!" And again, impressive graphics to me, and I really enjoyed that movie with the skeletons. That part. So again, if you haven't seen any of these classic movies, you got to go check them out. Hey, Bob! Bob made it. Bob says, thought I missed your show last night and fell asleep. Twilight was on the TV. I woke up with a man bun and a fanny pack, so I'll try to never miss your show again. Rich says, great movie. Now, Rich, were you talking about Twilight that Bob just mentioned, or are you talking about Jason and the Argonauts? Because we'll have to have another talk if you're talking about Twilight. So did I watch all the Twilights? I did, because there was that period when everybody was watching them and we all thought they might be cool. And so anyways, um but Bob, remember, we have to be politically correct on this show. We don't refer to it as a man bun anymore. We refer to it as a bitch biscuit. Okay. So, anyways, moving on. Number 21. Da-da-da. See, if I had this, if this was like a produced video, I'd have graphics, the number would pop in, we'd have pictures and stuff. But this is a live show, folks. So use your imagination, and participate in discussing about these. Number 21. This is also going to be a little old school. Again, that's why some of the lower ones were the older movies in a way that kind of irked me as a kid. Because again, when you're younger, back in the late 70s, early 80s, things like that, that was all the movies that were kind of scary at the time. And then we started getting a bunch of horror films in the 80s and stuff, really after was it 79, I think, when John Carpenter's Halloween. So but I don't want to get ahead of myself on things. So number 21, 1954. This is when the movie came out, and the creature is the Gill Man from The Creature of the Black Lagoon. So that's right. I saw it as a kid, and it scared me. So I had to include that. There was definitely something about it. And remember, some of these classic movies, the makeup effects for then was some of the best, because there was other cheesy, scary movies, things like that, that didn't always have the best makeups. But some of these that I mentioned on tonight's list were known to have some great costumes or great effects, things like that. So, and they use your imagination. In a lot of the older films, they forced you to just think about some, and your imagination, it's like they just kind of force you to think about it. You're like, oh my God. Then you look back later on, and you're like, I don't remember that movie being so scary. And then you're like, oh, that's right, because I was imagining more of the movie in my head that there really existed. So, all right. And as we start to break into the top 20, yeah, they had those scorpions. Oh yeah, I mean, it was all in all, there was a lot of great stuff, but the skeletons is what got me. Haven't seen the Black Lagoon. Yeah, and definitely check them out. Anything that we mentioned on here, if you haven't seen it, at least go check it out. All right, so let's break into the top 20, folks. Number 20. I had to include this on the list because, again, remember, don't judge me for now. Some of these I saw when I was younger, or as a young man, or as a teenager, preteen, little kid, whatever it was. At that time, it might have got me a little bit. So number 20, don't judge me, is Stripe from the Gremlins. All right, 1984, right? So Stripe from the Gremlins, man, because the Gremlins themselves, when that movie came out, to me, it was scary, like, because it was all cute, and these things were vicious, man. And yeah, it gets goofy and stuff at parts, but again, the idea of it, that these little creatures from some Chinese, back alley somewhere that could exist and be crazy. Chud. Tata Longo, it's good to see you. So yes, but yeah, as we go through this list again, now remember, I'm gonna just remind you folks, remember, this is the list that I'm telling you, I'm gonna get done with this list. I guarantee there's gonna be somebody's gonna be like, well, what about this? Well, what about this? Look, if I don't mention it on here, okay, there's a good chance that either I didn't see the movie or it just didn't scare me as or whatever, it just didn't affect me maybe. So there's tons of them. Like I'll give you an example. I do not have the Leprechaun on here from the Leprechaun, right? That was a scary movie, but didn't really do anything for me. Okay. So just letting you know. So if you're looking for the Leprechaun on this list, sorry to disappoint you. Spoiler alert. Okay. So I know we haven't been getting into what you might consider like scary, scary creatures yet. But again, these are some great all-time movie creatures, I think. I wanted a gremlin as a pet. Yeah, I mean, I wanted Gizmo, right? The Mogwai. Gizmo, when they're Mogwais, they're cute as hell. Of course, Bob, he just likes, he's crazy. So of course he wants a gremlin as a pet. Um now what do we got here? Okay, so let's move on to number 19. Number 19 is not again, now that I'm looking at this list, but I'm going to tell you this. I'm not going to keep justifying every one of them. But number 19 I felt was appropriate for the time. 1993. The Raptors and T-Rex. It's kind of 2 in 1. But Jurassic Park came out in 1993. I thought it was scary in an ideal way because when that movie came out, you can't you gotta be with me on this. When they went through and explained how they could create the dinosaurs and fill in the missing DNA. I mean, I'm actually starting to question. I was like, hey, maybe, they could do this. I almost sound like Jeff Goldblum right there. Maybe they could do this. Must go faster. But yeah, so there was, and I'm not saying that Jurassic Park is real. Don't get me any wrong. I'm just saying it had like a plausible element to it. You're like, well, we do find fossils and stuff, and what if they did find a way to bring these dinosaur back? So the idea of it to me, and then of course the raptors and the lawyer getting killed by the T-Rex and everything else, it was pretty crazy. So I gotta say it hit me. So it was enough to put it on the list at number 19. Bob says I have not seen any 50s space alien movies yet. You're probably not going to. I don't want to disappoint you, but most space alien movies in the 50s didn't scare me enough on this list. So, and I'm sure you could probably name some. Again, like I said, guys, there is hundreds of movie aliens out or aliens, creatures, monsters, you name it. But again, this is my top 25. So back off. I'm just kidding. Just messing with you, Bob. But yeah, 50 aliens movies. I mean, I'm telling you, there's so many good movies out there. Okay, so for me, now this next one's could be a little controversial because some people may put this higher on their list. I think my wife would. I think Terry Lynn would. Again, if she's not in the comments, that's just because, again, I told you she's got that stomach bug. She may be laying there listening to the show and she may be sleeping. I don't know. But honey, if you're watching, this may be, you may have this higher. Some people may not even have this on the list. But number 18, Regan from The Exorcist. Yeah. So The Exorcist, yes, some people feel like they were really scared by that movie. They were really terrified by that movie. I think for me, when I seen the movie a long time ago, because I'm trying to go by initial impressions, like I wasn't, I hadn't had this much experience in paranormal. I didn't feel like paranormal back then was like scary to me, like Exorcist, Possession wasn't scary to me back then. When I was younger, it was like monsters and those type of things were scary to me. But an exorcism wasn't scary to me as I got older, when you watch it, when I started getting older, I actually got more scared of it later. As I got older and knew more about possessions and things like that, then it takes on a different element for me. So, right, and so like Rachel says, that movie seems too possible, so it makes it scary. But again, when I saw it, this is why it's controversial. I have it at 18 because when I seen it originally, I didn't, it didn't seem like that to me. I wasn't afraid of possessions and things back then. I was more, invincible back then. In my mind anyways, right? So yes, maybe I could move it up if I was truly going by fear factor, maybe. Well, I don't know, because again, so I try to find a good place on for it. So 18's where it ended up for me. And the next one, you're probably like, well, how you could probably flip flop with 18, but this next one I felt was also deserving to be on the list, and that is the 1954 Godzilla. All right, so before we start talking about Godzilla, because I'm trying to keep up with your guys' comments tonight, because this is a real interactive edition tonight. So Bob says, Josh, with all the movies that scared you, could you scream like a little girl for all of us listening? I'm trying to get a visual of you in the theater as a kid. I don't know if I could scream like a little girl. My throat is that's why I got a bunch of water today. So sorry, Bob. I don't know. All right. So Godzilla, 1954, the originals. Again, this is more back when I was a kid. Same thing with like King Kong and movies like that. It was tense. Like Godzilla was pretty scary to me. Um, so it made the list. I don't have to explain too much more than that. Godzilla deserves to be on the list. All right, so this next one is it's a good movie from 1981. Wimp. Whatever, Bob. Hey, what are you scared? No, that's right. You guys, I told you, you can have your own list. You can have your own list. You let me know. You let me know if you have it. When we get done with this, if I missed anything, by all means, we'll discuss it at the end. All right. And you guys can tell me what was scary for you that maybe didn't make the list. Uh Godzilla also has that Killer Blue Oyster Cult theme song. Godzilla. Yeah. Uh oh no. There goes Tokyo. No, no, Godzilla. All right. Number 16 is 1981 movie called Clash of the Titans. And there was a character in there, Medusa. All right. Clash of the Titans, great movie for the time. Um, and yes, the effects of Medusa, the idea of that she could turn you into stone. Everywhere you turned around in the movie, it's like right. I mean, or in the scenes there with Medusa, it was scary for me back then. Again, thinking about a woman with snakes for hair, and I mean, it was so that's my number 16. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get into our top 15. Number 15, this is could be could be another one of those. Number 15, 1990, Pennywise, the original Pennywise from It, 1990. So, yes, right now we can rewatch It. You can talk about the book maybe if you really want, because I also read the book back then and both was scary to me. And then, like I said, um, Tim Curry's performance back then of It was just psychotic, scary clown. This not only was he over the top, like kind of goofy and scary, like you could laugh at his stuff, now, but the just the idea of what he could do was scary. Um, Right. So Rachel Electra says that miniseries was so scary, I wasn't allowed to watch it back then. So, and that's what I'm saying. It's like for the time, it was scary. So Pennywise made number 15 for me. Number 14. For those of you, this is another what I feel like is almost a cult classic movie right now. It's 1997, so it's not real old in that sense, although it's what 23 years old now. But really, the tanker bug, some of the bugs from Starship Troopers. So if you guys remember that jewel of a movie, I thought that the bugs in there had some pretty good scenes and would come and just rip up some of these troopers, and it was pretty scary. So I would say the idea because it's like overgrown bugs, man. I'm not a big bug guy. So these big giant bugs, and then like ripping people in half or stabbing them and stuff or taking their heads off. It was you know it got to me a little bit. Um, Tim Curry is a treasure. That's right. That's a saying. It's like a meme. Tim Curry is a treasure. Uh, Number 13. Number 13 is 1992. Now this could be higher for some folks because I know for a while it was definitely my number one a long time, or 10, 15 years ago probably. But I'd say it's number 13 right now because that's what I put it at. So is the Candyman from the Candyman. So if you guys have not seen the Candyman 1992, you gotta go see it or rent it. Like I said, pull it up on YouTube and buy it, rent it. But at the time when it came out, man, that movie was crazy. It had a good story to it, in a way, just odd, but it was different. It was a little different than some of the normal horror trope movies, I guess you'd say. And and it really played on the urban tale, like the Bloody Mary stuff. And then here it is, like if you say his name, Candyman, right? If you say it, well, then he would show up, and there's just that urban legend mystique about it. So the Candyman was definitely scary for a while. Like I said, when I watched it, Sammy Davis was scary. So when I watched it, it definitely got to me for a lot of just that mystique, because then you would find yourself in a bathroom and you just can't do it. Like some people just do it to be a smart ass. I can't do it. I still to this day don't really like to stand in front of a mirror. I won't do Bloody Mary. I won't do Candyman. I won't sit there and say it over and over in front of a mirror or anything like that. Just because. Just because. And you think I would. Um Number 12. Number 12. This is that classic movie. This is another good movie. Another classic movie with Jeff Goldblum, The Fly. And specifically the gloopy sort of the Brundlefly stage, that gloopy that thing was scary, man. That stage of the development was scary. So not a big fan of that. I don't even like talking about the Fly anymore. It's just not a movie. I don't even. It's not something I even want to watch again. Like there's some movies like I like watching now. There's some movies I just don't like to watch again, and that's just one of those I don't like. It's not. It doesn't have a high replay value for me. All right, folks, we're closing in on the top 10, so bear with me here. Um, Bear with me. So, number 11, now I'm going to warn you, number 11 is a duplicate ish. I thought about this and I wanted to add this in here. Number 11 is the modern version, and it is Pennywise from the modern It. I thought that number 11, Pennywise, I did. I think that the remakes, when they redid it, I really enjoy that guy's performance. I just blanked on his name, but I really enjoyed his performance as Pennywise in the new It. I thought they added some good scary elements, and I don't like scary movies. So the fact that I'm talking to you guys about all these things, keep in mind, I really don't like scary movies. But of course, I've watched them throughout the years, and then my wife makes me watch them. So Bob says, I can't. I stand in front of a mirror and say, "Damn, I got old and fat 3 times, but nothing happens." Bill Skarsgård, yeah, that's it, Bill Skarsgård. So yeah, I enjoy uh I enjoyed his performance. I think that the new it scared me. Not didn't scare me like a bitch, like I'm running out like, oh my god. But I see you see me. Hey, what's up? Late again. Sorry. That's okay. We forgive you. You can always go back and watch the other stuff on a replay. I'm just glad you made it. So number 11, Pennywise, the remake. But that I think that his character was really good, creepy, and I definitely enjoyed it enough to put him just outside my top 10. Right. So as we go to the top 10, stick around because we're going to break into that top 10 just here in a moment. Hey guys, if you like the work that we do here at the Everything Paranormal Show, there's many ways that you can help support the channel. Go to the everythingparanormalshow.com, click donate or subscribe. That's going to help us out. And if you can't do that, click like and share, and that's going to help us out in a tremendous way. Thank you so much, guys. And we're back. Hey guys. All right, so top 10. We're going to break into it right now. Number 10 coming in for top TV scary monsters, according to the world of Josh. This is me, not anybody else. So, number 10, Bruce the Shark. And no, I don't mean from Dory or from Finding Nemo. I'm talking about Jaws. Okay. They deemed him Bruce the Shark, right? But Jaws, dude, Jaws, man, oh my God, that scared me. That was a scary movie to me. I was terrified of the water. Still to this day, I don't like going into the ocean. I have gone into the ocean, but I still can't get over Jaws. It was a good one. It definitely was. And yes, you can watch it now, and it might be a little cheesy, but I even watched it recently again, and it's not bad. I mean, it still holds up pretty good. I think they did a great job for the mechanical shark and everything back in the day. But man, Jaws, if you're not afraid of Jaws, I don't know what to tell you. But man, number 10. What do you guys think? Was anybody else scared of Jaws like I was? Are you just scared of sharks in general? But Jaws is what made me scared of sharks. And I know that there's like a bunch of like marine biologists that are like, man, that damn movie, it gives sharks such a bad reputation. But you know what else gives sharks bad reputation? And that's shark attacks. And I know you have a better chance of being struck by lightning than getting attacked by a shark and blah, blah, blah. But hey, we're perpetuating Shark Week all the time, right? So so yes, Jaws. Rachel says some recent incidents show we should absolutely be afraid of great whites. Sharknado. That's right. See, that's scary in itself, is the Sharknado. Dude, look, now the movie, come on, that's like, I can't even believe that they would make a movie Sharknado. Like, that was so dumb. But the actual Sharknado, that could be scary. Can you imagine though? Like, you're living in Florida, like, I mean, because I used to. Can you imagine like you have a water spout, and back, usually like with the water spouts, we'd see water spouts off the Gulf. You know, not common, but pretty common. And can you imagine though, just like this water spout comes on, you're just like, hey, and it comes on the land, and just these sharks start depositing down, and anyways, that'd be crazy. Um, I see. I think I was more irked at the gore than scared of Jaws. Now Piranha was scary and gross. If frogs can drop from the sky, right? Right. Um, okay, so with Jaws, since before I move on, yeah, I think for me, what really scared the most was, of course, the unseen, right? The fact that this thing can just come up and take your leg off or whatever. And then the part where, what was it, Quincy, his character, or when he was, he come up on the boat and he was, kicking his feet, trying not to get taken in by the shark, and it's like he's fighting it off, and he's like sliding it. That part right there is what really did it for me. And I was just like, oh my god. And I'm just thinking, like, can you imagine getting bit in half or bit, and you're still alive, kind of, and all this other crap. So yeah, it was just and the thing was, is Jaws was a real possibility, right? That's the thing, is like, you're like, oh my god, the sharks could get big. I mean, this could be a real thing that could happen. Whereas, at least with some of the other stuff, it's not real, or at least, you think so, right? Okay, so moving on. Number nine. Number nine. This one, again, don't judge, but it actually got me pretty good back in the day. And so maybe I'm a little biased. It probably could have been lower on my list because I don't think but at the time in 1983, it got me. It got me pretty good. And that was the Rancor from Return of the Jedi. That's right. The Rancor scene. When I seen it in 1983 for the first time on the big screen, it was a little scary in that part. It was. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie. And I'm trying to be a man, and I'm trying to put it up there. Be honest, right? So that's why it's in my top 10. It got me. Plus, it's Star Wars, so I think that's probably why I was a little biased. It might not have been as scary as maybe some of the other things that I've already mentioned before. But again, at the time, it caught me pretty good. And I'm just like, how is Luke Skywalker going to get out of this mess? I was like, oh my God, when he picked up the little Gamorrean guard and he ate the creature, and and then he's grabbing Luke. I'm just like, oh my God, I was scared. It was crazy. He had the, drool. Ugh. Anyways, number 8, we're gonna move on. Number 8, 1981. There's a movie called An American Werewolf in London. And that's right, folks, the werewolf. Man, that thing in the movie, man, that scared me. Like, that was like, when I saw that movie, I don't think I was even supposed to see that movie. But I seen it, and to me, it was like a real scary movie. Like some of the other scary movies I seen, to me, they weren't scary. They were just things, that had some scary elements to it. Kind of like Gremlins and things. It was a scary movie, but it wasn't like a hard scary movie. To me, at that time, An American Werewolf in London was a hard, scary movie. It was like, oh my God, this is terrifying to me. So the werewolf in there, um, it really was affecting me at the time. I was like, "Oh my god." And especially when you're always like, "Man, could this be real? Are werewolves real?" Because there was a little bit of mystique. There's some urban legend to them. Again, Tatalanga, you guys saw, he was on the show last week. We talked about the Rougarou, which is a werewolf version, right? Um, of a werewolf, like a Cajun werewolf, if you will. So, but again, there's sort of that urban legend of, are werewolves real? Um, so, and again, not the same as, but the effects were great in the movie. It was just a well done movie, also, for the time. Uh, but yes. All right. Number 7. This is going to be a classic. I think maybe a no brainer for some people. And looking back on it now, at this time, I can laugh at a lot of this. Again, a lot of these movies, I can kind of go back and laugh. Uh, hey, honey. So Terry Lynn popped in. Hey, everyone, and let me just pop this on here for you so everybody can see her comment. Hey, everyone, just wanted to say fever starting to climb, going back to bed. So yeah, like I told you folks, she's not feeling too well. Which is a shame because I know she really would want to participate in tonight's, because she loves horror movies. She loves horror movies. Side note: our son was born where Jaws was filmed. Yeah, there was a part of Jaws that was filmed down in Destin, Florida, like that area. So, um, but yeah, I know that she would have really wanted to participate in talking about all of these scary monsters and creatures and things like that. So, but I'm glad you popped in, honey. I'm glad you said something. So, but just keep chilling and resting, honey. So number 7, again, uh, Freddy Krueger. Sterling says, "Thank you, I'll miss you guys." So number 7, Freddy Krueger. So Freddy Krueger makes it to number 7 on my list because some people have them pretty low. Some people don't find them real scary. Again, at the time, just certain movies, certain ideas of things. Um, man. Um, so, oh, okay. How you doing? Was it? Oh man, I don't want to murder any names. Morales says, when I was younger, Evil Dead scared me. Evil Dead did scare me. I don't have Evil Dead on my list, but you're right. There's some of these movies that I didn't quite put on here. Again, there's just so many out there, but certain movies didn't fully. Um, so Rachel says, "I love Freddy Krueger. So sassy and funny. He was a great one-liner. Yeah, and some of his stuff obviously was cheesy. Like we can look back and you can have a Nightmare on Elm Street sort of festival or you can binge watch them and you'll see like yeah, for the most part they're all pretty cheesy. Um, but and you know look, I am gonna say too, like I forgot at how much there was a formula. Okay, and we might as well just talk about this right now before we really start getting to these last 6. But there was that formula in Hollywood back in the day. It's like, especially with horror films, and they still try to keep that going, but you just had a lot of nudity, sexual reference, teen sex type stuff, and it makes it tough to like as you grow up and all those movies from the 80s, all those movies, and then you have your kids and you're like, hey kids, let's have a scary movie marathon. And then you forget about all of those parts. You're like, oh crap. So a lot of those movies definitely not, I wouldn't say family friendly, but I'm just saying, as we kind of know, like, oh yeah, Freddy Krueger's a little cheesy, so I want my son to see it. Then you're like, wait a minute. And then you start remembering certain parts and certain scenes, and you're just like, oh, that's right. They had to have, it was almost like a checklist. They had to have their boob shots, they had to have their, they always had to have those type of things in all the movies then. So Rachel says, isn't the Elm Street concept based on a real phenomenon in Southeast Asia where people were actually dying in dreams, if I recall correctly? Yeah, I mean, I think it was something loosely based on that premises, things like that. So, but then again, you can take any small element of something and say, hey, but yeah, I think they do that stuff. Morales says, my sister is 59 years old, and to this day, she's terrified of Freddy and never will watch him. And I see me says wouldn't be a scary movie without looter shots. Well, and that's what I'm saying. It's like I guess back in the day, it's like, especially when you're younger, it's like, oh, and that type of stuff was meant to appeal to a young audience, young boys, even even women. Was all supposed to appeal to the young crowd back then. But again, it just makes it a little more difficult when you kind of look back and you're like, hey. So, anyways, but yeah, Freddy, Freddy was scary back then, and just the thought about those knives and the dream world and stuff, and then the little creepy kid singing the 1, 2, Freddy's coming for you, right? Um, all right. Sorry about exposing my nappy head. I got to get a haircut. Number 6, we're going to move into another classic, Jason Voorhees. I have him at number 6. Now, I had Freddy and Jason next to each other on my top list because I felt like I had to give the edge to Jason to me. For me, I always felt Jason was a little scarier because he didn't really talk. He didn't have much emotion. He was very much a faceless killer. And so for me, I felt like Jason always had a little bit of a scarier edge to me. I did. Bob says, my buddies would drink a beer as soon as one of the teens dies. We were wasted after a lot of the movie. Well, yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing is like the movies always try to find a way to get teens together, whether it was like Slumber Party Massacre or it didn't matter. That was like whatever they could find was just an excuse of why teens would be getting together and having a party or going over whatever it was. They always tried to make excuses throughout the movie. It was almost like they built a movie around that stuff. It was funny. But so yes, Jason Voorhees. Now I know that like when you first watched the very first Friday the 13th, it's almost like they kind of changed it up a little bit, because the mother was the one kind of going around. You found out that she was kind of the one behind it all in a way. And then of course there's the little fake out with the kid kind of coming up out of the water. And then, after that, they started to change things up a little bit, right? And they brought this big dude in with the hockey mask, and and they sort of, and I like when they went with that direction. It's too bad that they couldn't have started out that way. If they would have already kind of knew what they were going to have, it would have been pretty cool to have the mother be behind it at first and she gets killed, and it's like it just resurrects him right there in that first one at the end where you do see like the big man with the hockey mask and all that. That would have been pretty cool. But either way, though, it's a classic. Another little Kevin Bacon connection, right? Kevin Bacon was actually in the first Friday the 13th. So that was pretty cool. A little cameo. Not a lot of people talk about that part in there. He was one of the young teens in there. But Jason Voorhees definitely had to make my list. Now, it's funny because when I had looked at some other lists throughout the week, I was kind of referencing some other lists of different movie monsters and stuff because I had forgotten about some. So I had to kind of reference a few different lists out there. And it's really weird because a lot of them had Freddy and Jason like really far down, like number 30 and like some of these top 50 lists. But I felt like for me, since this was my list and this is the top 25 scary creatures that scared me, I wanted they were up toward that top because again, Freddy and Jason, they were always coming out with movies and it was scary to me. So let's break into number 5 right after we do one more stop along the way here, folks. Hey guys, if you like the work that we do here at the Everything Paranormal Show, there's many ways that you can help support the channel. go to the everythingparanormalshow.com, click donate or subscribe. That's going to help us out. And if you can't do that, click like and share, and that's going to help us out in a tremendous way. Thank you so much, guys. Number 5. Now, this one here, this is a classic, all right? But it had to be, for me, in my top 5 for sure. And it's a great, great film. So for those of you that like the good old classics, then you have to go back to the original Frankenstein. That's right, the original Frankenstein. So I the I the if you ever watch like anything about Frankenstein, the original movie, it was based on a story. The story was part of a writing competition between writers that were sort of like hunkered down in this house, and they were like, "Hey, let's have a competition since we can't go anywhere." And so, but anyways, they made the movie, and truly was amazing. It really was for back in the day. The makeup effects were absolutely amazing. Um, it really was a great movie um, for the times. Um, and yeah, the author was Mary Shelley. That's right. So I I gotta say, and I had to pull it up because I did not want to do any I don't want to mess anything up on this because I really enjoyed it. If you have not seen the original Frankenstein movie, you I mean I'm telling you, you have to watch it. Um why am I let's see. Give me 1 second as I'm all right. So the Frankenstein was played by Boris Karloff. Now, at the time, Bela Lugosi was famous for Dracula and was a big name, but Bela Lugosi, from what I understand, was going or maybe did a screen test or something, but ultimately, Boris Karloff, the classic, and we're talking the chiseled, head, um, and the story of what he had to go through with makeup. And this dude was like this proper English gentleman, very well educated, complete opposite of Frankenstein, but did such an amazing job at this role because in the original Frankenstein, he didn't talk. And, but it was just so eerie and scary, the story of it. It was so well done for the time. It really holds up well. 1931, by the way, so extremely old movie, but it's hard to believe that. Think about that. It's like 90, almost 90 years old. It's crazy to think about movies now being 90 years old and stuff. Um, anyways, but guys, if you have not seen the 1931 Frankenstein, you've got to watch it. It is absolutely a classic. And uh, when I saw it when I was a kid, man, it really struck a chord with me and it scared me, especially with the little girl, because it's like the little girl made this breakthrough almost, with the flower, like the playful part of Frankenstein. And then for him just to like chuck her in the leg and oh, it was scary as a kid, man. Um Nega's family says, I like ghost/demonic movies and not so much the slasher movies. Yes. Absolutely. So, speaking of, well, this might be up your alley then. Number four. Number four, Pinhead or his crew, right? The Cenobites from Hellraiser in 1987. That's right. So Pinhead, if you watch the movie Hellraiser, um, it it's definitely more on sort of demons and things like that. But the Cenobites, man, they were scary to me. The Hellraiser, like that was another hard, scary film, like Phantasm, things like that. Um, those were hard, scary movies to me, and I I didn't even want to watch Hellraiser. I really didn't when I was younger. I didn't want to watch it, but I ended up seeing it. Kind of like one of those train wrecks, you don't want to watch, but you can't look away. So I think I was spending the night at somebody's house and they were like, "Yeah, man, let's watch it. Let's watch Hellraiser." And so they were watching, they put it on, and it was like a bunch of us all kind of crashing over, like doing like a boys' night or something. So Morales says, yeah, she said Hellraiser was scary. The character were awesome. Yeah, I mean the characters were awesome. That's what I'm saying. Like the makeup effects, obviously, and you got to remember a lot of this stuff was practical effects back then. CG or any kind of the graphic art, like it was very limited. So a lot of the creatures were practical makeup. And there's something that's always a little more frightening about that than some of the CG creatures. Because it's almost like some of the CG creatures that they have in some of these modern movies, they tend to make them real busy with stuff, whether it's hair and tentacles and teeth and all these different things. It's like you don't always necessarily know what you're looking at, but with practical effects, you tend to see sort of a little more fleshed out detail in a way, and it just gives it this edge of realism that it's amazing. So Bob says Pinhead was my hero. Told my teenage daughters that a Rubik cube was like a puzzle box, and they never use it again. Nice. Terry Lynn said, "I love Nightbreed." Yeah, and see, this is this is what I'm saying. There's so many movies out there, and so many movies that, and believe me, I got this list done, and there was times when I'm like, uh, and I started thinking about other movies too, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to sit there and keep rearranging my list. So, um, and there is a key person I left off here, but I'm going to explain why when we get done. So, all right, number three, number three, Predator, Predator. Um, Man, that Predator scared me because I'll be honest with you, I didn't see the movie right away. I actually ended up with a comic book from it, and the comic book was pretty scary and it was pretty graphic and left a lot to the imagination. But I also ended up seeing the movie, and when Predator came out, man, that thing was like, oh my god, because you always project yourself in these movies a lot of times, don't you? I mean, I don't know about you, but I do. I tend to like watch the movie and I'll be like, well, what if I was there? Of course, I wasn't as fat as I am now. That would suck because I know, like, if I was in the jungle with Predator as fat as I am, I'd just be like, all right, man, just kill me, like, because I ain't gonna run from it. I ain't gonna be able to. I ain't gonna make it out of this. You might as well just go ahead and take me now. So, but I'm just saying, at the time, back in when I was younger and in shape and thought that I was a little bit badass, I always think like, what would I do if I was in that situation? And Predator was pretty scary, man. This thing was like, it had the weapons, it had that Wolverine, style, blades, but it had the cannon, that could just blow you apart and stuff, man. It was just, and it was hunting. It was hunting and skinning its victims, and like hanging up deer and stuff. It's like the concept of this creature was hunting is like we're deer, and I did some hunting when I was younger. So, thinking of yourself being the deer up on the hooks, getting skinned and, so Bob says you'll have to do a top 100 on that on the Josh all night show. No, that's why I had to at least go with the top 25. All right. I had to at least just do a top 25. Okay, so moving on, unless anybody has any comments on Predator. Oh, Rachel says yes. Arnold hiding in mud while Predator is so close by is terrifying. Yeah, because you're just in theory, you're like that sounds plausible. Although I wonder if it really is. Like I'd really love to take. I don't know. Did maybe you guys know? Did MythBusters or anybody ever do it? Did somebody ever cover themselves in mud and see if a thermal camera could pick them up? That'd be interesting. I don't know, but in theory, sounds plausible. But I would think that after you spend all that time covering up with mud and being pumped up and all that adrenaline, and you're probably radiating all kinds of heat, I'm sure that mud would probably get warmed up. But anyways, all right, moving on to number two. Now, number two is a shape-shifting alien called The Thing. That's right. So for those of you that know about The Thing, man, that's really back when practical effects we're talking over the top, just like the gore, the effects. But The Thing was very scary to me. Very scary to me, man. It really got to me. I'm just like, oh my god, this thing was just creepy, vicious in my mind. I was scared. Like that one was um ooh, man. If you haven't seen The Thing, go back and watch it, folks, because again, that was definitely um that was definitely scary. Now, number one, and no, it's not Michael Myers. So number one on my list, I think out of all the creatures that really got to me, I would say the one I was probably scared of the most in a way, and I don't know why, but one of the creatures that got to me the most was the xenomorph from Aliens. That's right, the creature from the Aliens. We're talking the xenomorph, right? I'm not necessarily talking about the queen bee from the original, right? The queen, but really those xenomorphs, the aliens. Um, Man, these things they're like just alien versions of raptors. These things are just scary as hell. They could just completely demolish people. Just the way that they screech and run and terrify. But yes, the xenomorph from Aliens was definitely one of the top all-time monsters for me as well. So definitely scary stuff. So there it is, folks. The top 25 things that scared Josh. So I really do hope, and I'm not ending the show just yet, although we are gonna have to start wrapping it up soon. But um I'm gonna talk with you guys, let you guys we'll talk about some of the creatures maybe that I didn't talk about. But yes, guys, so I hope you enjoyed my 25 list. Again, this is just through my life in a way. Yes, there's many other movies I have watched that were pretty scary, and I don't know, maybe they could have been on here. But I think in a way I also wanted to give props to certain other creatures that like I said, King Kong and things like that. That yes, they may not be as scary as Evil Dead or something like that, but at the same time, they really did have a scary element for the time. So I wanted to give a decent list. So um, I appreciate that. This is a good list. Rob Bob says, "Yep, didn't want one of those as a pet." Right? Tatalong says, "Me too." So yeah, even covered in mud, your breath will give you away. Yeah, I mean it's movie magic. I know that, but it'd be kind of cool to see it though. To see somebody like cover themselves in mud real quick and see if we could, if that possibly could work. Debunk it, right? Um, so some of you, in case you realized, right? I talked about the history of Halloween a few weeks ago, and one of the original movies that kind of kicked off a lot of scary movies was Halloween, right? The original movie Halloween with Michael Myers. So you might be saying, well, Michael Myers is an amazing character. He still scares a lot of people. Why isn't he on your list? Well, I have a confession to make. I've never watched the original Halloween. So, in fact, I've never watched a single Halloween movie ever out of all the movies that I've seen. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, you know, The Fly, all these things. I've actually never watched any of the Halloween movies because I've seen so many clips of it of the movies. I've just never watched it. So therefore I didn't feel like I could put Michael Myers on the list because I truly never seen him, in that role from head to from nose to tail. So there's my confession, folks. I've never actually watched any of the Halloween movies, just many clips of them. So I feel like I have, but I haven't. So I didn't put Michael Myers on the list. Spirited Debate. Here we go. It's good to see you pop in here. I'm gonna pop your thing up here. Spirited Debate says scariest movie without a creature. Um, man, and that sounds. God, this sounds familiar. Like it seems like there was a movie that didn't have a creature. Wasn't that what? Isn't there a movie that didn't have to? I think there was a movie that didn't have a creature. I mean, I would say okay, probably something like Final Destination. That yeah, that could be. That was kind of a scary movie without any kind of actual monster. I think oh yeah, I can't even say that. I was gonna say Cloverfield, but that did it. They ended up showing an alien at the end, didn't they? Um so so yeah, I think Final Destination, if you start getting into some of those, maybe. Um I guess you could look at Maximum Overdrive if but I guess the creatures could be considered like the vehicles, the machines. Um so that could be what is it like what was the other one? The Happening, right? When all the it didn't really have a classic monster. White Noise. Now, White Noise, I think they did show like these three kind of spirit looking things. White Noise was actually pretty scary for Terry Lynn and I. We both agree it was a pretty scary movie in a different way. A lot of people watched White Noise with Michael Keaton, and they were just kind of like, okay, whatever. But if you're part of paranormal, because it was all about EVPs and white noise, so the idea of it and the EVPs behind everything, it's like it again seems like it could have been a plausible thing. So there was a scary element to it because we were involved in paranormal. Um, the others, I have not seen the others. I've heard about it. People refer to it a lot. I've actually not seen the others. And I think I know something about the others. I think I've heard somebody that spoiled it. So I think I know the twist. Um, the Amityville, yeah. I guess if you could look at a lot of the paranormal movies that didn't quite have, like, I mean, like Annabelle is not a creature per se, but she is kind of a monster in that sense that she's an icon. But you could look at other scary movies, maybe. Um, but that's a good, I mean, Spirit of Debate, that's a really good question. Phases of Death. Yeah. Well, yeah, that now that affected me. Well, I seen Faces of Death when I was younger. I wasn't supposed to watch that kind of stuff, but dude brought it over to a party I had. Not that I wasn't supposed to watch stuff like that, but I still was. I mean, I was like a teenager, I think, and dude brought Faces of Death over, and we watched it. That's scary because that's like real death, man. That's ugh, that's rough. Um, New list top 25 without monsters, right? Uh, so what else? What other? Okay, so just in general, guys, what other movies that you can think of that had scary creatures that I didn't mention? Um, there's all kinds of horror movies now. Like remember, like what is it like Santa Claus, right? What was it? Anyways, but yes, they had the scary Santa Claus movie type thing. So they had that guy in there. Um, what else? What else scary is there? Um, there was this one. Now that I think about it, I don't remember, but I probably would have put this in the middle of my list if I could have remembered at the time. But there was this movie, and I don't remember what it is, but and I don't think it's Critters. What was it? Critters was this, remember wasn't a movie called Critters? But that's not what I'm talking about. There's this movie. I don't for the life of me, I cannot remember or I don't know the name of this movie, and I can't seem to ever figure it out. But it scared the crap out of me when I was young because I was with my mom, I want to say, and we went to like one of her friends' house, and they were watching. They had it on one of the TVs, and they were in the other room. So I was watching this scary movie as I was younger, and it scared the crap out of me. And I know it had something to do with these like alien looking things with a bunch of teeth that like sucked people up into them and spit out their guts. I don't know. It was scary, man. I don't know. The Sound of Music. Bob's the comedian out there in chat. Um, Spirit Debate. The Shining. The Shining. Yes, that was a very good movie. Um, Now, did anybody see the sequel? What is it? Doctor Sleep. Did anybody see that with Ewan McGregor? We haven't seen it, so don't spoil it. 13 Ghosts. That's another good good movie. It's like you if anybody ever watches The Walking Dead on TV, I think The Walking Dead should definitely be up there because I think the way that they had the zombie apocalypse happen on there was they done a really good job, and it puts you in some really scary scenarios of what it could be like in the zombie apocalypse. So I think Walking Dead definitely deserves a place uh, up there when it comes to those situations, and of course, probably some of the other scary movies that are out there with zombies. Like I said, was it we said Evil Dead, Shaun of the Dead, things like that. There's a lot of them you could do. But I'm just saying, I think Walking Dead to me, um, Greg Nicotero with his effects of his zombie effects. It's almost like every episode they've got to find a new inventive way to kill off a zombie. So it can get pretty interesting. And he's really good at his job. So they have some really good effects of tearing skin off, cutting a face off, cutting a head in half, cutting it this way, that way. um, acid zombies, napalm melting zombies, bloated zombies, just about every which way you could imagine. So Doctor Sleep was good. Okay, so we'll have to check it out, because I would like to see the follow up. And I know obviously it's different. They went more of the Stephen King route with Doctor Sleep versus the Stanley Kubrick version of The Shining. But um, Train to Busan, Train to Busan is an excellent one. Hmm. I don't know if I know that one. Is that how current is that movie? Is it like a newer movie, older? Um, we'll have to check that out then. The Alien movie you were talking about, Night of the Creeps. That could be. That could be. See, like I said, I was young. I don't know, but I wonder. I wonder if it was. Um, I just know it. Like it was scary to me. Whatever it was, I'm like, but I kept watching it, and I shouldn't have. Night of the Creeps. Let me look here. I don't know. I don't know if that was it because these things kind of reminded me of like critters with legs, maybe, but it wasn't critters. Um, I don't know, but yeah, it wasn't. I'm looking at images of Night of the Creeps, and I'm not. It doesn't. It's not it. But yeah, I can't remember the name of, or I don't know if I would even know the name of it, even if you said it. I would just have to look and see. But good try. I appreciate you trying to look out for me. Pitch Black. The you're talking about Vin Diesel, right, Bob? Yeah, that series with Riddick, I thought that was pretty good. Like Pitch Black when it first started out. I thought that the all the Riddick movies were really good. But Pitch Black for sure. I like that. I think it's pretty cool when you get some of these again, much like Aliens, when of course the best thing you can do is to explore or humans go to a planet and guess what you discover you have to now escape. That's a classic. It's a classic trope, but it's a good one. It works. It's effective. And Pitch Black, I like the way they handled it. I thought that was pretty cool. But good creatures, anything that's gonna fly around, and I mean or just aliens in general, um I always thought it was pretty cool. Train and Busan is on Netflix from around 2015, Korean zombie movie. That's cool. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to see some. It's hard because that's why I think The Walking Dead was so successful because the show was it's hard to tell a true story of a zombie apocalypse in a movie form. Um, but it can be done. World War Z, like when I like my zombies kind of like Walking Dead, not season 1 episode 1 or the first 2 episodes, I think first couple. If y'all remember, those of you that did watch Walking Dead, in the very first episode, really, or the first couple episodes, zombies were kind of like running and climbing fences and stuff. And then I think they were like, "Whoa, we can't be doing this. We got to tone it down." Um, and then they started to me, they got it right where they were like these walking hordes or just zombies in that sense. I like that. So I like my zombies medium rare, Spirit of the Bases, and that's what I'm saying. Medium rare. Prince of Darkness scared me as a kid. Um, yeah. You I don't know. Yeah, I can see that. It's weird. Like I tell people, it just depends on what strikes you. Sometimes, sometimes you'll talk to people and they'll be like, man, that movie wasn't scary, or like, I'm not scared. Sometimes it's not. Like certain things and certain styles, like some of the Japanese, like The Grudge, certain like Japanese horror films in a way, they're pretty scary to me in a way. They seem there was a video game that my wife and I used to play called Fatal Frame. Fatal Frame 2, the second one, Crimson Butterfly, was a story of two twins, uh, Mayu and Miyu, I think. And these twin little girls, they go to this lost village. They wander into this lost village, and once you cross that barrier, you can't really escape. But this village at night, it's creepy. All you get is a camera. It's called the camera obscura. So you take photos and try to capture the spirits in the photos, but they're attacking you. So it's scary. You have to like look through this viewfinder. You're trying to find these ghosts, and they did a really good job with the art. Very Japanese grudge style art. Uh, you're in uh, these kimono villages. It's amazing. It's a great game. Some good jump scares in there, and they're not just in your face jump scares. Just some of them, just like just your classic, like the hand on the shoulder, and then you where you think it's like the sister, but the sister walks by, and then it's like what that kind of classic type stuff. But it's a well done video game. It was on the PS2. Very good game for a horror type of game, because a lot of the horror games like Silent Hill and stuff, they weren't real scary to me for some reason. But but um but Fatal Frame 2 really got to me, because we actually played it in that order. We played 2, 3, and then 1. What about Abe Lincoln versus vampires, or Abe Lincoln versus the zombies? Yeah. Um can we do like a modern version? Would that be like Trump versus the zombies? Trump versus the mob? Sorry. I had to go there cuz it's like zombies, and then, Lincoln and Trump. I don't know. I just thought it'd be funny. Hope I didn't offend anybody. I hope nobody's butt hurt. So anyways, it's a joke. So anyways, actually, yeah, I've never seen that. I found that places and atmosphere scare me the most. I loved the movie Skeleton Key just due to the blues music in the swamps, that chilling bayou atmosphere. Yeah, there is an and Tatalago can even really talk about this too. But there is, to me, when you get around like New Orleans and stuff, New Orleans, whenever you get around New Orleans, Nolans, and when you go there, there can be a mystique. There is an air about the place, that sort of voodoo, dark magic. There is a little extra bayou atmosphere. So there can be. So I get that. So that makes sense. But yes, good atmospheres, good scary things. And I think that's why, for me, like, that's one of the things I'm trying to do more for you guys is when I go to some of these investigations, like you'll notice, like when even the hail, and by the way, guys, if you haven't seen the Hales Bar Dam footage I released, it is up. I finally got to release that. I got to finish editing it. And so a couple things on that. One is I apologize for losing and getting stuff corrupted. That place had an amazing story. It did. I I spent the whole first part of the evening investigating with my friends with SRS Paranormal, and together we unlocked a huge storyline that involved Native American Indians, an elemental. It was amazing. We really, truly had an amazing investigation together in that place. And then it was my turn to film. And I filmed, and then I did do some dowsing rods, and I had some amazing stuff, but I lost a lot of the only thing I really got to keep was I had really four major things, which was the 3 walkthroughs for the 3 areas, and then the 1 static cam. So like I said, guys, I had to kind of like post what I had and do the best I could to edit, and I really didn't even worry about was something truly evidence. I kind of really left it for you guys to kind of go through and see what you guys found, or find. But anyways, the point is, I that's something that I recognize that a lot of you like the atmosphere stuff. So when I go to some of these places, I've been trying to film a lot more of the first person and sort of whisper and let you guys experience more of just like you're there too, and to where you can absorb the atmosphere versus trying to film and show me and like the old traditional ways of filming a team investigating and stuff like that. I try to give you guys a little more involved and get to see the atmosphere. So, but we're going to start to wrap things up. I've got to get going to head out to my other job. So again, I just wanted to say, tune in next week. We got one more Halloween episode to go. Um, I'm planning on talking about witches and whatnot. I might see about getting Stacy back on here. Um, but I don't know if I'm going to do that. Um, I, I may not do that. Um, Rachel says, you guys did a great job of that at the Eaton House. It was so quiet out there. Yeah, I mean, Eaton House, it was just me out in the holler. That's it. Nobody else. It was just me. Nobody out in this holler, dead quiet, no cell phone signal. So, but I was invited to go back to a follow up. So who knows? I may go and do a follow up. If you guys are interested, I don't know. Maybe I'll go out and film like a 1 hour unedited episode, and maybe we could play that for next week. I'm just shooting an idea right off the top of my head, but what if I went back, filmed an hour episode and unedited it, just come back, unedit it, and do a premiere, and we all watch it together next week, and then maybe after we talk about it or whatever, and maybe we do something like that, or do like a 45-minute uncut, and then we come back and talk about it afterwards or something. I don't know, just something to think about. But if you like that idea, just comment whatever you want to do. But we got one more Halloween special before Halloween, so that place is going to be going out nuts this close to Halloween. Yeah, I talked to the family, and they said that there's a lot of activity kicking up in the holler, their house, the Eaton House, also. Some of the other places are experiencing more activity. There's a lot of paranormal activity because again, they have family that's passed away in the holler back there. They have a dark shadow in one of their places that's pretty regular. Some of their little kids are experiencing it. Like 6 years old, 5 years old, like, hey, I see, there's a person that looks like a shadow. And the story was like, well, what do they look like? And they're like, that's it. That's all they could describe was how the dark shadow looked. They're 6 years old, right? So, anyways, but guys, just some ideas. I don't know, but we'll have fun on next week. So, guys, it's been great. I hope you enjoyed the top 25. And remember to tune in next week when we do something special right before Halloween, guys. Remember, seek the truth. We'll see you next week.